Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Seth Rogen, who coincidentally has been one of my favorite comedians slash actors for a pretty good part of my life now. I really like a lot of older Seth Rogen movies, movies that are made more recently. I don't really watch a lot of recent movies, so I haven't seen a whole lot of his content going up until now, but there is a new piece of content out that has gotten the attention of pretty much everybody, and I did take a look at it, so I think that that's going to be kind of important going forward. So you may or may not have heard about all of the controversy surrounding this, but Seth Rogen was working with Sarah Silverman, another comedian, on this new product for, I think it was HBO Max. And it's called Santa Inc. It's a little animated Christmas special episode of some sort. It's basically a series. It's not like a one-off thing. It's like this Christmas series or whatnot, but it's supposed to like kind of mock the whole theme of Christmas and like some of the things that are traditions with the holiday and stuff. It really isn't that funny, to be honest with you. Like I said, I did take a look at it and I wasn't really impressed with what I saw. And a lot of people also were not that impressed with what they saw. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up for you guys real quick. So as of me recording this, the trailer for it on YouTube has about 4,000 likes and 154,000 dislikes. The comments are currently turned off for this one. Usually whenever you see like a really bad like to dislike and the comments being off on YouTube, that means that it's been absolutely demolished. So obviously a lot of people were not really fans of this whole Santa Inc. thing. If you haven't seen anything about it or seen any trailers, essentially the jokes in it they're just stale, man. They're not funny. For instance, I'm going to show you a little bit of the trailer just to kind of highlight what a lot of the problems with the show are, or at least some of the issues that people have had with the show so far.
We are the magic behind that day. So let's get these fucking kids some fucking presents!
Bravo!
Good news, sir. More American kids believe in you than they do in vaccines or the Holocaust.
That's great. I mean, disheartening for America, but great for us.
Have you decided who will succeed you as Santa Claus?
Subtext, Santa's old and knocking on death's door. Fuck you. Good question. I'll give it some serious thought. Ha ha ho ho ho. Bye.
Oh, haha, I get it. I don't know if you guys saw the joke there, but yeah, the cute little Christmas character said fuck. That's the joke. Yeah, it's written like a third grader wrote it. This is like 80% of the jokes in the show. It's just very, very lazy. It's not very well put together. It's just not fucking funny.
I'm gonna be the next Santa. If this is your dream, you have to at least make your case, bitch.
You gotta get intimate with that jolly bitch.
I know you're right, but do you really have to call me bitch every time you say something?
Yes, bitch, because it's empowering to call you bitch.
Wow, you see, the reindeer was basically just like a very lazy stereotype of African-American people. That's really fucking hilarious. I mean, it cusses a lot, you know? It does everything for me right there, man. I needed that in my life. Comedy is when cartoon characters cuss when they don't need to be cussing. It's almost like Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman teleported back to the 1980s before shows like Family Guy, South Park, The Simpsons, American Dad, pretty much any animated show, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Robot Chicken, any of the more adult-centric shows that cuss and have edgy humor and shit like that in them. It's like they teleported back in time before those became a reality and just wrote the show right then. You know, it has absolutely no fucking nuance to it. There's nothing to it. It's horrible. I mean, I genuinely mean it when I say you would be wasting your time watching this. The jokes fall flat, the animation is nothing special, you know, Seth Rogen, Sarah Silverman, they don't really present anything worth watching. Well, apparently having this opinion would actually make me a white supremacist, according to Seth Rogen, which is, I would say, a pretty fucking, you know, ridiculous assumption to make based on my, I guess, style of humor that I prefer, which is funny because I fucking like Seth Rogen. A lot of his movies I thought were really good. I still watch Superbad. I still like This Is the End, right? Like, there's a lot of Seth Rogen movies I'm a fan of. Like, he's been funny in a lot of shit, but this is the kind of stuff, it's really just lazy. What else can I say? It's very fucking lazy. There was no effort put into this, it seems. And, well, Seth decided to get on Twitter to let us know what he thinks about our reply to it. We really pissed off tens of thousands of white supremacists with our new show Santa Inc., which is now available on HBO Max. Please read the responses to this tweet for confirmation. Okay. You hear that, guys? He pissed off all the white supremacists. Seth really fucking stepped out of his shell and provided us with something that just got the white supremacists fucking rolling up in balls and mauling, man. Well, obviously, the vast majority of people that don't like this aren't white supremacists, so what he's saying is fucking ridiculous. Number two, It must be a really great position of power to be so privileged in your life that you can just disregard all criticism thrown at your fucking show as just being, hey, white supremacists don't like me. And Seth Rogen has also been hiding behind the fact that he's Jewish to also, I guess, discredit a lot of what's being said to him as just anti-Semitic hate. Now, don't get me wrong, this is the internet. I am absolutely sure that Seth Rogen has to deal with anti-Semitism to some level. He's very publicly Jewish. I'm absolutely certain that a lot of people, even in this instance, who are, mad about this show or don't like Seth Rogen or whatever it is, they probably have made some very hateful and shitty comments towards Seth and towards Jewish people, but obviously, the vast majority of people who don't like this are not the people doing and saying that shit. He's taking a vocal minority of people online and just pretending like that's everybody who's saying anything about this show. And I will say, some of the dislikes and, the negative reviews online, they definitely are just reviews put on there by people kind of dogpiling on Seth, but in general, people don't like the show. I even saw, I think it was an article from Variety that was talking about Santa Inc., and as fucking left-wing as Variety is most of the time, even they were like, yeah, this show falls flat, it's not funny, it's not worth your fucking time. Because at the end of the day, this whole perception that it's just hateful people saying this is not true. And it's literally just Seth Rogen coping as hard as he fucking can, which is, it's funny to me because, when you're a comic, right? When you're a comedian and you write all this funny shit, you're supposed to be able to take the blunt end of the sword, right? Sometimes you get whacked over the fucking head a couple times. Sometimes your joke doesn't land. Sometimes people fucking criticize you. That's fine. Or at least it should be, but in this case, apparently it makes you a white supremacist. Whatever that's supposed to mean, I'm not sure. I guess that's... You got me, Seth. You caught me red fucking handed, bro. How dare I dislike your TV show? So, this has been going on for a few days now, right? Where people are just kind of criticizing Seth Rogen for this whole thing because obviously most people didn't agree with him on this one. I also want to take the time to kind of point out the hypocrisy in saying, oh, everybody who's criticizing me is just a big fucking racist, right? They're white supremacists, they hate minorities and all this other crazy things, but then, while you're the person grandstanding, right? You're the one saying, oh, everyone who's against me in this one is basically just a fucking hateful person. You're the one who, in your show, made quite fucking racially motivated jokes. I mean, there's no ignoring those reindeer in that show. It's very clearly black stereotypes that they're portraying. It even is to the point where in response to this tweet that Seth Rogen made, you can very clearly see in a lot of the replies, people who are African American replying saying, hey, what's up with the reindeer in this, You're talking about, oh, these people are fucking racists for saying anything about me, but then why are these, racial stereotypes and whatnot that are being used in your jokes? And even when you go back in a lot of previous Seth Rogen shows and films, he's used race as the butt of the joke repeatedly. There's literally a scene in Superbad while they're going in there to get alcohol and whatnot, a fucking robber comes in, and Seth Rogen is one of the police officers, comes in and is trying to goad the cashier essentially into saying that the fucking robber was black. He's had a history of making these kinds of jokes throughout his career, but all of a sudden now, Seth Rogen is the anti-racist. So it's gotten kind of to the point where Seth Rogen is essentially saying, hey, it's okay for me to make racial stereotypes, jokes, and things like that. We can make all kinds of racially motivated jokes, but when you criticize my shitty show, then you're a white supremacist. You're a racist. You're hateful. You're bigoted. Once again, it must be an incredible position of privilege in your life to just be able to, fucking ignore the kind of things that you do while simultaneously pointing the finger at everybody else. It's coming off as kind of a rules for thee, not for me kind of thing when this is the kind of shit going on. So, Santa Inc. actually caused such a stir online that the Rotten Tomatoes score, last time that I checked it, was hovering at around 2 to 3% favorable reviews from the audience. It didn't have a critical score yet because I don't think that many outlets had picked up on it by the time everything went down. As of right now, I actually think that the Rotten Tomatoes score has been blocked by Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, so it's just been getting destroyed. Nobody's really a huge fan of it. I haven't really seen anyone defending it online whatsoever. The only defense I've seen for it is, people being called racist for not liking it or finding it funny. And the thing is, right, is the criticism surrounding this show would be a lot better, right? There would be a lot less criticism if the jokes simply were funny, but they weren't. There's nothing fucking funny about this show whatsoever. I tried to sit down and watch just a little bit of it the other day while I was kind of researching everything going on for this video. I was trying to see if, the hate online was unwarranted, if it was undeserved. And it just genuinely wasn't funny. I mean, there was nothing about it that was redeeming really at all. I mean, even as a Seth Rogen fan, like, it was a disappointing flop of a product. It seems like more and more Seth Rogen is relying on like the same joke. You know what I'm saying? Seth Rogen has obviously been a huge smoker for a long time, right? And it seems like his only joke now is, hey, I smoke weed. Or, hey, look at what I can make, cuss and say things it shouldn't say. It's like, yeah, that joke wears the fuck out when you've been doing it for 25 years. Everybody fucking supports marijuana now, right? Like, well, obviously not everybody, but the majority of Americans support weed. I mean, a very, very sizable portion of the population smokes. It is not as taboo as it once was, and therefore, the joke has gotten stale. Even just recently, like in one of his more recent public appearances, he was just talking about how, oh, I went to an Adele show and I smoked a bunch of weed and I was high. Like, yeah, it was funny fucking 15 years ago, but it's not as funny as it used to be, you know what I mean? And when that that kind of joke continuously gets recycled, it just, I don't know, man, it just starts to fall flat. And when the show, it's very clearly trying to pander. I mean, the whole presentation of the show is trying to pander, and that's what Seth Rogen's been doing for a while now. He's been talking about how he wants to bring more diversity into movies and stuff like that, and he wants to create leads that aren't white people and whatever, which is fine, right? Like, he's free to do that. He's free to make whatever he wants. But when you make shit that isn't funny, the crowd is gonna let you know. And your only defense for that shouldn't be, well, you're just a hater, man. Because in reality, it's not the case, right? Like, I don't know how many times I have to say it. I am a Seth Rogen fan. I thought he was funny for a while, but I just don't support this. I don't support the finger pointing and just making ridiculous fucking claims to defend ourselves when we have a little bit of a meltdown because our product wasn't that great. So really, that's all I have to say, so thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about Seth Rogen, and signing out.